Welcome to Love Lizzie. I'm your host, Teresa Sabatine, daughter of a philosopher and a psychologist who spent my childhood evenings nestled between psychology textbooks while my mother pursued her master's degree. Even before I understood what it meant, I became a light worker, deeply feeling and naturally attuned to the energy and emotions of others. When I was 22, my mother, Lizzie, a therapist, feminist, and community builder, was taken by breast cancer. Her absence created a darkness I carried until I realized I could transform that grief into light. And so, Love Lizzie was born. My offering to continue the legacy of the woman who taught me how to listen with my whole heart and provide a shelter for others in the storm. For over a decade now, I've had the privilege to guide CEOs, founders, and hundreds of women toward their authentic purpose, helping them build and grow businesses, get unstuck, harness their unique talents, and navigate life's uncertainties. On this podcast, our community brings questions about love, purpose, creativity, and grief. And I offer both comfort and practical tools, continuing my mother's legacy of holding space for those seeking wisdom on their journey. I'm so glad you are here. Let's dive in. In this episode, we are going to tackle some pesky feelings of imposter syndrome and talk through what it is like to be in the pursuit of your creativity as a business owner, as an artist, as someone who is just doing something off the beaten path, and how to manage both parts of yourself. The part that has to be responsible and do all of the admin-y and responsible things and legal things and financial things. And also the part of you that just wants to be of service, doing your craft in the world and leaving people better than you found them. If you've been feeling a little like maybe you have boots that are too big on and you're not sure how to fill those shoes, or that the chaos of administrative, organized part of what you're trying to do and the creative part of what you're trying to do are in conflict, sit back, grab a tea, and let's talk it out.
Hi, Lizzie. My name is Lauren. I'm calling about my business. I find it can be so rewarding and mentally healthy and limitless to own my small business, employee of one, where I can stretch and try new things and work with whomever I value and respect. And finding time to create processes and official documents and feel on top of my communication with clients, and that I'm growing in the areas that I'm curious about. All of that feels overwhelming and as if I need a month off from client work just to get those things in order. How do I trust that I'm providing good work and also finding true big time to get those things in order? Do I take a break away from client work for a couple months? And if so, what should I be making sure I tackle during that time? P.S. If you also have advice about how to curb imposter syndrome, drop that in there too.
Well, Lauren, thank you for your vulnerability and also just shining a light on what you're trying to process here with this thing that you have created. I often talk to my entrepreneurs about how a business is in so many ways an extension of you. And because it feels like an extension of you, it's really important that we create a separation and distinction between who you are as a person and what your business does for the world. When we are at a scale where what we've been doing for a while is really working and we're starting to gain momentum with the people that we're serving and perhaps getting some incredible referrals, the business changes. And that little thing that we were doing all by ourselves as a side hustle or a part hustle, or even just that small little business where everything was in our control, starts to expand outside the box we've put it in. And usually that includes you. We grow all the time. We change all the time. And I see here that you're really feeling like it's time for you to expand and try new things and value the part of you that loves to grow and change, but you're feeling kind of restricted by the systems and way that you're doing things now. And it's almost like the box that you built your business in can't hold you anymore. But perhaps you're not sure exactly where you're going next. And so you're in between. And this can really relate to personal growth as well, because when we are growing personally and a part of us that did things a certain way and behaved a certain way and moved through the world in a certain way is no longer working for us. Like that way of being is no longer working for us. We start to become this new version of us, but we've got one hand in one aspect and one hand in the other. And I always call this like the tunnel of growth, because you can't really see the past so clearly. And you also can't see where you're going so clearly. And that's a really daunting place to be. It's kind of dark. It can be cold at times. And like you say here, it can really make you feel like perhaps you're trying to be someone you're not. Let's back up a little bit. Whenever I have founders, business owners, artists, creators that are coming to me and they're in expansion mode, meaning something is changing and they're ready for that growth, but they're not exactly sure what it's going to be, we do have to take time to step back, but not the way you think. I hear here that you're wondering, do I have to take a month off from the business in order to get a handle on the business? I don't think so. I think one really beautiful, meaningful couple of hours away from the day-to-day of your business and the responsibility of paperwork and admin and legal and operations and scheduling could potentially give you all the space and time you need to wrap your arms around this big, beautiful moment in time and get a handle on it. We often can feel like an imposter when we feel like we don't have a handle on things. So when we step back and we ask ourselves, what do I want this business to be for me? What kind of vehicle do I want this thing that I've built to be for me? And where do I want it to take me? Do I want it to take me to more flexibility and freedom? Meaning I want actually more personal time. I want it to fund a very beautiful, full personal life that allows me to afford travel and gifts for the people that I love and days in cafes without anything to do and a lot of flexibility and where I need to be and when I need to be there. Because that's one sort of business. And that seems to kind of be the business that you have right now. But I hear that you're growing into a business that is a little more formal. And perhaps you're craving some systems and accountability and structure that would allow you to be of service in a whole new way at a whole new level, but maybe not give up that beautiful, flexible freedom that you've had just being a one-person business owner. We really want to ask ourselves and we really want to define for ourselves, what do I want this business to be a vehicle for? How do I want it to take me where I want to go? What do I want it to feel like on my way there? The other thing that we do when we build a business from a very old school lens is that we only think about the structural. We think about, I want it to make money. I want it to do this thing in the world. I want to have this service and provide this service at this standard. And all of those things are really beautiful and wonderful. And they can be figured out in a rainy afternoon where you structure your product and you ask what your clients need more of. And you can even step aside and say, what service are we providing clients that feels so freaking good to me? And I know we're delivering it excellently. And if I could deliver it over and over again to 100 people that feel and act like this and need this from me, I would feel like I was on the top of the world. That's how we can structure our products and services, which we can get to. But first, I want to ask what you want this business to be for your life. Curiously, I'm hearing like perhaps this more structured, formal, professional version of the business. You're afraid maybe you can't step into those shoes. You're wondering, am I her? Can I be the poet and free, flexible, whimsical, wonderful woman that I am and own a business that does all these amazing things and functions super high level and makes my clients super happy and allows me to deliver a high quality product without having to give up my whimsical, fluid, poet, loving, free falling self? And the answer is hell yeah. I absolutely believe that you can have a business that fuels your creativity, inspires others, allows you the freedom and flexibility to work from where you want to work and be who you want to be in your personal life and have time for all that and deliver an incredible experience for your clients. I think you can be both incredibly, abundantly, financially secure and stable, and also not work 100 million hours a week. We are definitely fighting against an old mentality that says that it's one or the other. You can have a small, tiny little business that allows you to do like tiny little things in the world and then have this time freedom and flexibility. Or you can do these really big, impactful, meaningful things, and you're going to have to give up all this other stuff that you really care about. I happen to believe that intentionality can set you up for success in more ways than one. So again, I ask you, what do you want this business to be a vehicle for you? The next question that I would ask in that instance is, what kind of vehicle do I want to be for others? Where do I want to help people get to? How do I want to help people feel? What is it that we want to be known for? And when you step back and kind of ask those more philosophical and emotional questions, the next step immediately after that is structure and operations and supply chain and strategy and time and containers and contracts and legal. But I feel as if you go and try to do all this orderly work about paperwork and admin and structure and systems without really stepping back to ask yourself, what kind of business do I want to have and how can I create it so it fuels me? I think you're just going to end up building a bunch of systems and structure that don't actually get you where you want to go. This is about you being the woman that you want to be in the world. And entrepreneurship is absolutely, positively a vehicle for you to be the most you that you can be. And it's going to require you to ask for help. And it's going to require you to be super vulnerable. And it's going to require you to show people that you're afraid. And it's going to require you to fail. And it's going to require you to make mistakes. And it's going to require you to not be perfect. And it's going to require you to make some sacrifices. And most of the time, those sacrifices are habits that are holding us hostage in who we used to be that just feel really super comfortable. Just real comfortable. That's what's familiar. That's what makes us feel like we know who we are and we have a baseline for how we can move through the world and how we relate to people that love us. And so whenever we're changing and having that metamorphosis into somebody different with new habits and new beliefs and new understanding of who they are and their power within themselves and their place in the world and their influence over their community, and you're starting to see like, wow, when I bet on myself, when I believe in myself, shit starts to happen. Like things happen for me and around me and through me. That can be really daunting and it can feel really unfamiliar because perhaps we're really used to staying in our lane, being in our place, following the rules, making sure everybody's okay. And now we're actually focused on creating and creation. And that requires us to actually follow our own intuition and to believe that what we want and have and who we are matters in the world and is super important. And it also may require a lot of no's. And I think when I hear from women that they're scaling and they're wondering what they want to do with this business and how they want to spend their time, that they realize that and to do it the way that they want and to have what they need and to be who they want to be, that they're going to have to let other people down. And like, this is going to be true anytime we're choosing ourselves. And when we choose to run a business and create something in the world through our light and our talent, it means that we're actually channeling ourselves. We're putting ourselves and our ideas first. We're believing that our ideas are worthy of pursuit, which means all the things we've been doing for other people over the years as caretaker and good friend and good daughter, maybe we don't have as much time for that. Maybe we're going to have to start to carve out time for ourselves. Maybe we're going to have to put ourselves first in a way we never have before. And who are you to say no to somebody who needs something from you? Who are you to carve out that time on Mondays where you used to give it to whoever, whenever they needed it for yourself? Who are you to protect your time as if it's valuable? Because that's what's required to have a business that works for us. That's what's required to have all the admin organized and the systems in place to say that financial Fridays are financial Fridays. And even when someone asks me to do something, I am disciplined enough to the order of this thing I've created and the discipline of making it what I want it to be in the world to sit down on Friday morning and do my financial planning. And I am committed enough to myself and the success of this endeavor and the thing that I want to create in the world to actually charge people what I'm worth and have a contract that holds them accountable to paying that. I see that you need systems and accountability and legal and all of those things, but those are stemming from a place of you saying, this thing is becoming something that I actually really care about. And I want to not only protect it and make sure I steward it correctly and protect the reputation of how we service our clients, but I also want to protect myself. I also want to make sure that I have what I need. I also want to make sure that I have the time and space that I need to be the best version of me to do this thing the way I want to do it. And that definitely means that you are valuable enough to protect your time, that you're valuable enough to let people down, that you're valuable enough to put yourself first, that it matters how you feel, that it matters how you spend your time, that your time is super duper 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 valuable. That's a big shift. So that imposter syndrome you're feeling, I'm just picking up off what you're throwing down, is that you're valuable. And the way you want things is important, and how you spend your time is important, and how you feel is important, and how things stem from your creation is really important. And that means that you're going to have to be the biggest protector in the world of you and your time and how you feel and what matters to you. And that may be a switch for some of us that have been really quieting our wishes and shrinking our dreams and saying that how we want to live maybe isn't as important as meeting other people's needs and making sure that everybody else is okay and being that sounding board and that reliable person in the lives of so many people. Where are you going to find the time for you if you're giving it all away? My challenge to you is to sit back, find your favorite tree, bring a notebook, put on some sort of music, head somewhere where the energy is really buzzy and beautiful in the way that you need it to be, and ask yourself, what do I want this business to be for me? How can this business be a vehicle for the things that I want to create in the world? And if I need it to be that, how do I need to feel in order for me to steward that and drive that vehicle in the direction it needs to go? And what kind of help do I need? Because when I was trying to build my business to look like how other people told me a business looks, I was constantly burned out, constantly stressed, constantly doing a bunch of stuff I really didn't want to do, or in worry and behind mode. Like, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough resources. I need more of this. And that was just a really awful feeling. And I saw that I was actually denying myself the truth of who I was and how I wanted to feel that was so authentic to me. And I love a good business problem. I am an incredible operator. I've done some extraordinary things in my career. I have passed legislation. I have made $350 million movies. I have been with governors and CFOs and chairmen of the board in global world-renowned companies. I've done all that, and it's been extraordinary. And I know that if someone put me on a film set tomorrow at 6 a.m., I would be able to rock that job. Like, I could do it. I could sit there for 20 hours and make magic happen. And I would have a lot of fun doing it. But in my true essence, I'm a poet, and I like soft things, and I like slow mornings, and I like to sip my coffee from a beautiful floral cup. And I like to have space to process my emotions. And I like to talk to people about their feelings, and I like to see how my rose garden grows, and I like to be with my dog for a long period of time on a slow hike. And I also love to fly to New York City and do a bunch of amazing things for a big business and be in the heart of the city and have a fabulous dinner and do that. I mean, I'm both and. I had to really evaluate the equation for me to feel the way I needed to feel to create what I wanted to create in the world. What is required for me in my environment and in my habits for me to be able to sit down and carve out space to answer your question on the Love Lizzie podcast? And what is required of me to have the financial setup to be able to deploy resources to amazing collaborators to help me bring the business of Love Lizzie to life? Because let's be honest, I don't want to be an event planner, but I know some incredible event planners. So how do I structure the business so that we can facilitate incredible events? But it's not my job to produce them. But I have the resources and the capacity to lead a team of people that can do that. And that might not look like someone else has it look. That might be only 1099 contractors. That might be a full team of employees. And no matter how it looks, sweet Lauren, no matter what the structure is, no matter what the operating system is I need to build, it's going to be great because it's the way I need it to be. And because it looks and feels the way I need it to look and feel. And because it's authentic to who I am. And because it's a container that I can step into where my needs are met and I have what I need and it looks how I need it to look. And the operating structure matches how my brain works and the way things are delivered to me looks the way that I need it to look. And in the world that tells women to just be happy with good enough and the scraps that we're given, demanding that something operate the way I need it to operate felt so selfish and so rude and so privileged. And I really had to realize that that was the voice in my head telling me that what I wanted was not available to me, that I wasn't worthy of the thing that I wanted, that I wasn't worthy of having my needs met, that I wasn't worthy of using my creativity the way I wanted it to. And when I stopped listening to that voice in my head that told me that what I want, I'm not good enough for, or I'm an imposter and this is just all a big joke and I'm not deserving of this dream that I have. And I started actually flipping that script to say, what does it look and feel like when my business is running the way that I want it to run? What does it look and feel like when I have the right collaborators who are really good at what they do and love doing what they do and are fulfilled by our collaboration, and I can set them free to create from their hearts on behalf of my business? And what does it look like for me to have the energy I need to have to facilitate these incredible retreats where people come and they leave feeling energized and prosperous and like themselves and ready to take on the challenges ahead and create their dream? What do I need in order to create that? I started asking that question over and over and over again. And through asking that question on the regular, I started to get the answers and the answers started to appear. And I found the vendors and the collaborators and the relationships that would allow me to operate within the situation that I needed to operate to be who I needed to be. I challenge you to take the lie that you need a month off in order to get your business in order and just start with one beautiful, deep hour asking yourself, how do I want this business to feel? What do I want this business to do for others? And what do I want this business to do for myself? And I think by stepping back a little bit each week, you're going to find the answers show up in the right clients, in the right contracts, in the right relationships. You're going to be in some random coffee shop and you're going to meet the next accountant that you need to meet that's going to do your bookkeeping. And you're going to meet that lawyer that's going to help you draft those really awesome contracts that help you keep your boundaries. And you're going to feel really inspired to charge what you're worth to get to this next level so that you have the financial freedom to operate this business from a place of abundance and not fear and scarcity. And you're going to feel like yourself. You're going to feel ready. You're going to feel strong. You're going to feel creative. You're going to feel confident. You're going to feel clear. And from that place, when you put on the shoes in the morning, they're going to fit just right because you will have literally intentionally picked them out to match the size of your feet and the way your feet are shaped. All of us are on this journey of cultivating a life that we love, of meaning and intention. And that does mean that we have to be decisive and discerning and disciplined. But it also means within that discipline and decisiveness and structure is a lot of flexibility and freedom. I can't tell you when I started putting systems in place for my business that actually worked for me, not for others, how much freedom I had in the work that I get to do and the people I get to meet and the time that I have and how I use that time and how I feel during the day of a work day or a business meeting and how energizing all of this is for me. I'm so excited about this next chapter for you. And I'm really looking forward to what happens when you start asking yourself how you want this to feel and what you want this business to be for you. Because as long as it's aligned with you, dear Lauren, and it's true for you, your impact is going to soar and the way that you treat your clients is going to be incredible. And the reputation that you get in the world, which I'm sure is already amazing, is going to only get stronger. And through that process, you will start to feel like you were made for this thing in this exact moment, doing this thing with these people in this way. And the right collaborators and the right structure and the right schedule will appear because you will be very intentional about how you want it to feel. So until next time, if something's weighing on your heart, or you're feeling stuck, don't hesitate to call or write Lizzie. We'll be waiting to hear from you. I love you. You're wonderful. And I'll see you next time. Imagine that you just listened to the podcast and you have so many thoughts and feelings running through your body. Maybe you're thinking of actually taking action on something that you've been stuck on, or maybe you heard something really resonant on the podcast and you want to explore it deeper. Well, now you can. You're cordially invited to the Love Lizzie Patreon community. The Patreon community is a simple, streamlined way for us to connect with you between podcast episodes, answer your burning questions, and just get to know you a little better. If you've been looking for some love and you want that one-stop place you can go where you know it's always going to be supportive and there's always going to be someone on your side, then the Love Lizzie Patreon community is definitely for you. You can find us at patreon.com/Love Lizzie. That's LOVELIZZY. I hope to see you there. This podcast is produced by Love Lizzie. Our editor is Kayla Hill, and the music is by my very own sister, Julia Sabatine. If you like what you heard here, we would love for you to hit the subscribe button. See you next time.